Okay, so today we're going to be talking about mold and adrenal health. Two things that you may not even realize you have. Number one, mold exposure. Number two, an adrenal gland problem, an HPA axis problem, a fatigue problem, a not handling your stress problem. Maybe you're already aware of that, but mold can be multifactorial. We can be exposed to it in buildings, not just where we live every day, not just where we work, but where we visit, and also where we've been, because if you've been exposed to mold in the past, chances are that it's still impacting your body. It's taking habitant in your GI tract or your mucous membranes or your respiratory tract. So if you have frequent coughs or colds or sinuses or GI disturbances and you're exhausted and tired, there's a great chance that you have a mold overgrowth in your body, a detox issue problem, an HPA axis problem, and you're not putting two and two together. So what I wanted to do is put two and two together and get you think outside the box, because a lot of people are exhausted and tired and they're not getting answers. My name is Dr. Joel Rosen. I am the Adrenal Fatigue Recovery Ninja, and today we're going to talk to you about mold and mast cell activation and adrenal health and what you can do to get better. So first thing I want to tell you about is mold is such a beast in your body. Unfortunately, it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. We see it all over the world, sometimes in more damp states, but ultimately if there's been water, rain, and there's pooling of water, or even in crops and foods that you're eating like coffee or different types of lentils or beans or grains or things that are in bulky nuts and seeds, those can be very moldy as well, and you can get exposed to them. So ultimately what happens is the perfect storm happens, is where your body is more predisposed for inflammation, from a difficulty to putting out the fires, so to speak, with the perfect storm of the environment that does have all of these traps or these loaded these guns going off all over the place. Excuse the metaphor, but really I say the genetics are the loaded gun and the environment are the triggers that go over all over the place. And unfortunately mold is a big issue. So what we typically look at is a mast cell activation. So mold will stimulate your white blood cells, and then your white blood cells will stimulate cytokines, which is a good thing. You want your body to be stimulating cytokines, which are your immune chemical messengers that help to deal with the stress of a foreign invader or invaders. But a lot of people that I work with, they say, Doc, I never get sick. I've never gotten sick for a long time. And while that could be good, it could be indicative of your cytokine and your mast cell activation continually putting the foot on the accelerator, and your immune system is, like I say, the kid in the being bullied by the different bullies at his school, and his head's down and he's swinging it at everyone, in terms of the immune system is just overactive, and that in and of itself can produce more chances of autoimmunities. The other thing that the mast cells do once they've been stimulated from mold, notwithstanding all the other things that could be stimulating the mast cells, is impacting your HPA axis. So your hypothalamus pituitary adrenals, which ultimately cause cortisol release, and that cortisol release causes that fatigue and that breakdown and that anxiety, and feeling worn out and stressed out and not being able to handle things if it's constantly going on, which it is if you're cooped up in the same place that you are getting exposure from, or you're eating the same foods that you're getting exposure from. Mast cell also will stimulate histamine, so you can also have the itchiness, the tearing of the eyes, the allergies, not doing well around pets or different times of the year, and having major challenges with that. And unfortunately, then what happens is histamine will go and stimulate another enzyme that will go and stimulate your mast cells again. So if you're not clearing out that histamine in a quick way, then that can create that histamine to re-stimulate its own production, which is when you get caught into that vortex of that vicious cycle of something happening, causing its own happening over and over and over again. And mold will do that. So what do we recommend? Well, mold first and foremost has to be avoided, identified, eliminated, whether it's food, coffee, beans, nuts, seeds, those types of things, grains, those can be very moldy. Also, being in a building, if you smell mold, chances are there's mold. We say that the people that have been exposed to mold in the past are human mold detectors because they can smell it. The second thing that you want to do is you really want to support that histamine clearance. Good B vitamins, having methionine and SAMe and methylfolate and methylcobalamin available to be able to clear out the histamine is very important. DAO enzyme can be used. Quercetin is a really good supporting nutrient. Things that will help with your polyphenols, will help with clearing out, those are antioxidants with that extra histamine, along with the B vitamins, can be really, really helpful. Whenever you get exposed to mold, binders are really great, so is sauna. And then people will say, well, I take NAC or glutathione. And that's where I say that's kind of closing your eyes and hoping you hit the target, because there are so many pathways that go wrong with that perfect storm of not just mold, but other immune stressors like pathogens or chemicals or other types of oxidative stress like iron challenges. So all of those things will end up causing you to have exhaustion. And you're not getting answers. And I get it. You're going to the doctor, they're looking at you like you're crazy, they're doing saliva testing, they say there's no such thing as an adrenal fatigue problem. And we're not really even discussing that in the video. We're talking about the mold impact with the adrenals, with the mast cells, with the cytokines, with the HPA axis, with the recycling of its own histamine. So that's what we're talking about. So don't get caught up on just the definition of an adrenal fatigue problem. I want you to see the bigger picture, that there's more going on in your health that's impacting you. Anyways, my name is Dr. Joel Rosen. I've got plenty of videos. Make sure you give a thumbs up or you subscribe to this channel, and make sure you ask me any questions that you want, because we work with clients all the time that have mold challenges that we ultimately reduce, get them better, and now they don't have that exhaustion and fatigue and inability to handle stressors the way that they used to, and they're really thriving in life. And there is hope that that can happen for you too. Have an awesome day.